Today I have the Motorola One Fusion Plus. It's the 8th version of the Motorola One lineup they began in 2018, which pales in comparison to the Motorola G-series, which has released 12 different versions this year alone. Seriously, Motorola takes the shotgun approach when it comes to releasing phones. Wait, let's try that again with a little more hurrah.
Today I got the Motorola One Fusion Plus. It's the 8th version of the Motorola One lineup that began in 2018, which pales in comparison to the Motorola G-series, which has released 12 different versions this year alone. Seriously, Motorola takes the shotgun approach when it comes to releasing phones.
SIM card needs to come out first, then we can separate the back panel from the mid-frame with the pry tool between the gap and the all-plastic housing. Back should pop off pretty easily, just be careful not to jerk it up too quickly as the fingerprint reader is still attached. Using some heat, you can push the fingerprint scanner through the back panel so it floats freely with a long ribbon cable running under a plastic shield. Here we spot the inner workings of the motorized selfie camera. They definitely took design notes from other manufacturers like OnePlus, Oppo, Asus, Lenovo, and, well, everyone else who did it a few years ago. All the screws in this device are the exact same size and length Phillips-headed screws, and as a bonus, they are all using enough hardened thread locker that I had to use both hands to get enough torque to untighten them. The phone may be plastic, but it isn't going to fall apart anytime soon. Little foam balls inside the speaker help them sound louder and clearer than normal small speakers. Side note, cleaning these up is a pain if you open it, so maybe don't. The plastic main board shield can now be popped out of the frame. It has some plastic clips holding it in place in case the 7 thread lock screws somehow fail. The fingerprint reader can be disconnected and placed to the side so we can safely reach the other Lego connected ribbons nearby. Under this black graphite flap, you'll find that disconnecting the battery is pretty important. The black plastic speaker housing gets popped up. There's a small pry point in the lower right of it. It hides the basically ancient at this point rotating mass vibrator. With that out of the way, it's on to the heat mat for this one. I'll set the mat to maximum, about 90 degrees Celsius, and give it a few minutes to soften the adhesive on the battery and screen. I'll use some isopropyl alcohol in the battery compartment. Motorola uses some very strong permanent adhesive to hold it in. The battery has to come out in order to remove the display ribbon that's sandwiched below it. Try your best not to bend the battery, bent cells aren't safe, and if it isn't coming up flat, just add more alcohol and heat. With the battery out of the way, I'll run a super thin pry tool between the glass and plastic frame. Going too deep would cause damage to the LCD, but probably not a concern with this one, it's already dead. Motorola went with a gummy silicone-like glue to attach the display. It lifts up pretty easily once it's been separated and doesn't seem to leave strings attached. Depending on your replacement display, you may have to add adhesive. Feed the ribbon through the rectangular cutout in the frame as far as possible, then lining up the top corners of the screen, and finally pressing it firmly into the frame. I'll connect the display to the main board like a Lego, then bend and align the ribbon to lay flush against the walls of the battery compartment. The battery lays in the cutout, sandwiching those ribbons to the frame. I'll get that connected and test that the display is working. Looking good. I'll snap the lower loudspeaker plastic back in and get the screws tightened down. The fingerprint reader needs to be reconnected before the plastic shield goes in. Then the shield can be slipped between the U shape of the ribbon and clipped back in. With all the screws tightened back in, the large plastic back panel can be pressed over the entire phone and also clipped back in. Flipping the phone over, the last step is inserting the SIM tray. I was really excited to see the motorized camera in action and really disappointed to find out the customer did not provide a passcode for us to test the device. Huge letdown. Hopefully I'll get to show it off in the next one. Thanks a ton for joining me. If you have any questions or comments, drop them below, and I'll see you next time.